Before we get into this video, I'd just like to say that I apologize for the lack of amazing video quality. I'm using VSDC free video editor. It's my first time doing like a video essay or any sort of thing like this and posting it online. So thank you for clicking if you did. So let's dive in and lose ourselves in liminal land. First of all, let's just get this out of the way and say Nexpo has really outdone himself with this one. Liminal Land is a ARG website. There's a couple YouTube videos, little clips and bits of it are kind of everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. It's just really fun to explore, and I highly recommend you check the website out for yourself. The link will be in the description. But for those not brave enough to explore it on their own, I will hold your hand and show you the horrors of Liminal Land. When you load up the Liminal Land page, you are greeted with red skies and an ominously spinning Ferris wheel. You then have 8 options to choose from. Home, which is this page right here. Attractions, the rides and various things to do with Liminal Land. The accommodations, which is where park goers stay at Liminal Land. The archives, various letters and employee training tapes found after Liminal Land's closure in 1989. The gallery, which is just a bunch of images of Liminal Land. The actual park closure, which we'll talk about later. About Liminal Land, which is a short description of Liminal Land itself, and the Emporium, which is their merch page. So I highly recommend you guys go and support them here. Let's get into it. We'll start with the attractions. This is not a normal park, and you can tell. Let's start with the first attraction. This one's titled The Hall of Walls. Just a real quick side note, I'm pretty sure all these images are AI generated. I don't talk about it at all. I think it's really cool actually. Like they're incorporating that into ARG with all the recent technology and stuff. Really cool, really sick. I just don't talk about it. The caption reads, Liminal Land Signature Maze Experience. This is likely a backrooms sort of area where park goers can get lost in the yellow walls and buzzing fluorescent lights, much like the backrooms. And since Liminal Land is a liminal space, probably, it most likely drew inspiration from the original backrooms image and lore. So that's an interesting connection, kind of a homage to the backrooms right here. Next we have the Paradise Playrooms. The title reads, The Revered Paradise Playrooms. We have a kid, probably another kid back there. Both of their faces are not in frame, or this one just doesn't have a face. A slide and some balloons. It's very, very creepy. It's just an unsettling image. You can't really even tell what's up there in the corner. Yeah. Now we have Subliminal Land. Sorry. Which is revealed to be later that it's a underground water park with like a bunch of different levels, and it just keeps going down and down. And seems to be an upper level since there's lots of park goers here. A little family over there, dude chilling over here, another dude chilling over here. Crazy slides. Looks like a, I don't know, fairly cool, honestly, water park. I'd honestly like to go here. This one's pretty disturbing. It's called the Laugh Track. The caption reads, The Happiest Ride on Earth. You can see a bunch of park goers laughing, smiling, enjoying the ride. We'll find out later why that is. Next we have the Centrifuge. It says rumored to hold up to 100 riders at a time, and it was rarely full. Yeah, I wonder why. This thing looks terrifying. Looks like they just strap you in standing up and spin you around. That does not sound fun. Next is this image, titled Unknown. The caption reads, "Much about this ride is unclear to this day. If you recall this, please fill out the form below." Yeah, that looks terrifying. Next we have the tunnel. Dark ride at Liminal Land. Photos of the interior are extremely rare. All these people look like they're having a great time. Yeah, just kidding. They look absolutely horrifying. Yeah. Next we have the chrysanthemum. These park goers look almost normal. They're all very happy, smiling, having fun. The caption reads, "Liminal Land signature spinner named after the flower." Yeah. Pretty cool. Next we have another unknown. It just reads, "Much about this ride is unknown." This will probably come up again. But it looks kind of crazy though, honestly. Next we have the wheel. It reads, "Extremely early concept ride, rumored to operate before Liminal Land ever opened." Creepy. Then we have Serpentine. Just reached the Serpentine. Looks like a crazy roller coaster. Yeah, does not look very structurally sound, and we'll learn more about that later. And the last one is the Unknown. It reads, "Situated behind the laugh track. Much about this ride is unknown." At the bottom of the page, there are the ominous words, "Where were you?" If you or someone you know has any recollection of a prior visit to Liminal Land, please fill out the following form with your experience. Your account is vital to the preservation and understanding of the events that transpired within the park. So, what do we know about this park just from this page? Lots of very odd rides, very crazy rides, it looks like. So, thrill rides, yeah. I'm sure lots of people are drawn to them. This park seemed to be very popular. But they're asking for people who know about it. But if it was a popular park, then why are they trying so hard to find people that know about it? And what do these words mean? Where were you? What do they mean? Something must have happened here. Let's dive into the second page. Accommodations. This is where we learn about home. The holistic and opportune mutual experience. Wow, yeah. Home, from what I know, it seems to be essentially a liminal space. It extends way farther out than the actual reaches of Liminal Land underground. Home just takes up a very, very, very large space underground. I think it's liminal. I think it's infinite, honestly. That's my theory. Let's read about it. One of the finer creations of Liminal Land Park came with the creation of their flagship accommodation, the Holistic and Opportune Mutual Experience, or HOME. The HOME project encompassed a sprawling underground suburbia, perfect for families who traveled from out of state to experience Liminal Land for themselves. Built from the repurposed bones of the Lake Valley Observation Employee Housing Structure, the site once housed the facility's clean energy, trademark, workers and their families, at the time creating one of the largest underground communities in existence. Upon its opening, Liminal Land aimed to celebrate the sense of community by transitioning homes purposed away from its employees and geared towards park visitors, many of whom felt an overwhelmingly comfortable while inside due to its illusionary nature. That's interesting. Illusionary nature. I don't know why they would mention that unless it was something anomalous or, I don't know. This sensation of homeliness was the sole intention behind the project, as Charon, this is the first mention we see of Charon, I believe. This seems to be the parent company of Liminal Land, and they're very important. as Sharon sought to keep guests inside the park for as long as possible in hopes of maximizing profits. Because of this goal, Home would be the only in-park hotel offered to guests, reportedly containing around 10,000 concurrent operational rooms at its peak, spread out over a handful of square miles underneath Liminal Land. And here's a section. We can see it way, way bigger than Liminal Land. Like, that's crazy, and it goes off the map. Almost like it never ends. 10,000 rooms? Are you kidding me? That's insane. And we're talking about 80s here. It's just absolutely crazy to me, right? That's insane. Something's got to be going on with that. Blending 50s inspired decor with modern cues from the 1980s, Home was a marvel for its time. And due to the intrigue and raving reviews surrounding it, Sharon would begin selling units in 1981, fulfilling their goal of keeping the patrons on the park grounds for as long as humanly possible. Here we see Sharon selling the units of Home for permanent stays, people who just live in Liminal Land. Due to the allure of Home and its outward appearance of sprawling underground suburbia, quick family vacations often turned into extended and even permanent stays, and for many, Liminal Land Park had indefinitely become home. Here we have, this thing says Experience Home, a bunch of images. This one's interesting. It's on a kind of an outdoor. I don't know how many people you need to build 10,000 units that look like this. 10,000 in the 80s here, guys. But you need a lot of people and I mean a lot of money. Another thing you'll notice about nearly every image on this website is that the people in it just don't look quite right. They just don't. But back to the building of Home, it's just I don't think it would be physically possible to dig out that much underground space and fill it with this many homes. Some fishy has got to be going on. Welcome to the Liminal Land Archives. This is where the meat of the story takes place. Through pamphlets, photos, and news articles. Even some absolutely chilling videos. The first piece of media on this page is a pamphlet describing Subliminal Land. I'll pause it here so you can read it on your own. It just describes the sprawling 36-floor water park that park goers can enjoy. Interestingly, all levels connect to each other with water slides. And it mentions that if you get lost, you can find the nearest partner next to some red exit signs. It also gives a warning. Those with autophobia may experience discomfort in the Serenity Ward. If you're prone to this, it is advised to remain on floors B8 and above. The next piece of media is pre-Liminal Land photos of Lake Valley. These are some photos of the land that Liminal Land is now on before it was Liminal Land. Something looks wrong in these photos. The buildings don't look quite right. The people in them don't look quite human. Even the lighting is just a little bit off. The most notable part of this archive entry is the last photo. It is described as the only known image taken of the hub, the main energy sector of the Lake Valley observations. It is said that due to the constant reactions happening inside, entering this room often meant death in under an hour. The hub would eventually be retrofitted into the final floor of Subliminal Land, which made it one of the most highly sought-after locations in the entire park. The next entry is highly important to the story. It is titled Mention of Dr. Schlittenberg in the Science News. This is the first published mention of Dr. Frank Schlittenberg in the weekly edition of Science News on November 28, 1959. The article briefly discusses his research into the world of cortical activation and specifically compression-induced laughter. Despite discovering the clear health issues that prolonged exposure to these compressions can cause, he incorporated the same technology years later into the laugh track. Think back to that laugh track photo. The people in it, all of them, had this compression going on. They're being forced to laugh. Unfortunately, their health was most likely negatively affected. Here's the full article. Pause if you want to read it. The next archive entry is a photo of a rider on the laugh track. I don't know about you guys, but they do not look like they're having fun. The description reads, cameras on the laugh track captured the giggling passengers upon the esteemed ride's reopening in the summer of 1988, 1 year before its closure. The ride had been suspended earlier that year and covered with a massive tarp, an attempt to hide it from the public eye. The official reason given for its closure was severe mechanical issues, with the tarps being used to protect the ride from the harsh sunlight. Many have gone to reject these explanations, with some going as far to claim that the ride was closed due to an accident and potentially even total derailment, although to this point little evidence exists to back these rumors. The ride continued to operate that summer, much to the enjoyment of parkgoers, and remained operational until Liminal Land's eventual closure the following year. This next entry is truly chilling. It's a letter from Jason Franklin to someone named David on April 21st of 1984. He appears to be a cleaner or a maintenance team, a lead as it says here, working for Charon Corporation. The letter reads this: David, I'm having trouble figuring out how to approach Dr. S about this. This is most likely Dr. Schlittenberg. But this is getting seriously out of hand. We cannot keep guys on payroll for longer than a few weeks before they walk off. I'm not sure if it's a pay discrepancy or what, but this is seriously beginning to affect our bottom line. Home is a fucking mess. It's become a colossal shithole ever since Dr. S decided to sell units for permanent stays. All this man cares about is money, money, money. And the residents don't care. They sit in their rooms living like shit. Their trash is everywhere and it stinks. How am I supposed to hire any decent talent if their first day on the job is cleaning up the mess the last team abandoned? We either need to shut off the sections of home or figure out some way to get more people in here fast. I can't keep pulling these overnights alone. Not like this. It's messing with me bad. I haven't told anyone, but 2 nights ago I heard something down the hallway inside C block. I'm not sure if it was because I was up for 22 hours straight again, but it sounded so fucking real. It was akin to a child's scream, this disturbing, blood-curdling scream, followed by what I can only describe as a redacted. I know it sounds ridiculous, redacted underground, but dear God, it hasn't left my mind since. We need more guys. I'm overworked, I'm tired, and if things don't change, I'm walking off just like the others, because fuck this. Regards, Jason Franklin, Charon Corporation. Wow. This letter has lots of lore in it. There's just something going wrong inside home, and I kind of sensed it from the start, but this letter just proves it. A child screaming and a redacted message. It's a nightmare down there, I'm sure. This poor guy, Jason Franklin, has to work cleaning the whole time. Man. The caption reads, "Letter recovered from the maintenance office and home. Sections are unfortunately redacted. However, our team is working to recover the lost data." Now, I'm making this video like 24 hours after this website came out. So it could be updated in the future. Maybe the redactions will go away. Maybe more media will be put on the website, but I'm not sure. Now let's move on to the next entry. This is an absolutely horrifying video. Company training tape. I'll play it for you now. The video opens with the Liminal Land logo. Very, very soothing music, honestly. The music is kind of lit, I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to Liminal Land. This is the 6th course of the orientation. It is mentioned they pride themselves in their visitors' happiness. So in this tape, they're going to teach you how to spot a dissatisfied visitor. This first example, obviously out of the ordinary off the bat. Not that creepy though. The only thing notable is it says this is the person. As if we have to spot things that aren't people. The music fades out and it says you try.
Look at the photo.
The next photo is displayed, and it is nothing short of horrifying. The text pops up on the screen again. This is the person.
Look at the photo.
The next photo is displayed. A child going down 3 slides alone. This is the person.
Look at the photo.
I'll let you experience the next one. And the next.
Look at the photo. Look at the photo.
The screen flashes black, and the text appears. The park is AL. This could be alive, but I think the letters are too far apart. So that leads me to believe it says the park is a lie. Then a terrifying photo of people looking to be sucked down a hallway by furniture is shown. And the frantic panicking of a crowd is played in the background. This time 2 red circles show up. This is the person, not the people. The person has been split apart, or it's just a text error. The image then disappears, the 2 red circles remain. like a set of eyes staring back at you from the void. The red screen returns. Orientation, course 6. And the music resumes, telling you to make their day. It then says, when you're ready, inform your manager to initiate course 7 with passcode right. Now remember that. It's important. A happy visitor is a forever visitor. Then the video ends. Horrifying, right? This is the person. What could that mean? Are there non-people inside of Liminal Land? Why are the employees being trained to spot these people or non-people? Horrifying. The next 2 entries are promotional materials for the home. Here's the first one. Seems pretty normal, just a bed. What's interesting about the caption is that it mentions a reality-bending underground suburbia, although it does say it's an urban legend. However, with these journal entries and the employee training video, I'm beginning to think that there's something more to this home place than what meets the eye. The next poster. This one seems a little more creepy. It says dream with a giant wall with a cloud painted on it and a green floor. An empty doorway standing covered by moss and green growths. Same caption as the other promotional material. Now let's move on to page 2. This is another video. Missing persons. I'll play the important parts right now. It opens up with the national anthem. Goes through the full entire thing. Seems to be very old, low quality. You can see the lines and the blips on the screen. Before missing people. Just quite a few. It's safe to assume that most of them were last seen at Liminal Land. What happened to them? Let's move on. The next entry is Lake Valley Observations, circa 1973. It's described as a recovered image potentially from the site of what was once the home of the Lake Valley observations. This photograph was likely taken by staff members of Charon surveying the land before purchase, before its eventual renovation into subliminal land. There seems to be some sort of light glowing, kind of taking over the whole street. Scary. Let's move on to the next entry. Promotional material, Paradise Playrooms. This seems to be a poster promoting Paradise Playrooms in Liminal Land from the first, or one of the first photos of the attractions page. Found in the remaining company files, this poster once promoted the highly ambitious Paradise Playrooms, which served as the park's alternative to daycare. Early reviews suggested that the attraction lived up to its name, with children joyfully spending hours lost in the maze of never-ending fun. Usually, children lost in a maze isn't in the same sentence as joyfully or never-ending fun. I think children got lost in this place, and I don't think they were ever found. All those missing people in the previous video, I think this is what happened to the children. Let's move on to the next entry. This is a physical poster of Margaret Jacobson. She looks a little off in this photo. And she was also mentioned in the missing persons video. They're giving an $8,000 reward. It said that she was last seen at Liminal Land. This poster also seems to have been vandalized. Drawings, the cool little S shape, it's fun to draw, and bulletin being crossed out just to say the word bullet. Another incomprehensible shape there as well. Let's move on to the next entry. This one's titled Promotional Material, Sharon Corp. Seems to be another promotional poster. Before Liminal Land was open, so this is coming soon to Lake Valley. It said the ad was created around 1974. Let's move on to the next entry. These next three entries are photos. An unnamed child photographed playing in an early variation of the park's signature Paradise Playrooms. A vast building served as a maze for children to get lost as their parents enjoyed the more mature attractions at the park. This is worrying because if it's made for children to get lost, how are they going to find their parents again? This is a 1983. People didn't have phones. If children got lost, how would their parents find them? Scary. The next entry is titled Down in the Depths. 3 park goers taking a break from the expansive network of pools within Subliminal Land. They appear to be somewhere around floor B27, although nobody really knows for sure. B27 is pretty deep. Goes down at 36, so it's quite down in there. What's interesting is it says 3 park goers. You can clearly see 1, 2, 3 people. But it seems just out of sight of these 3 is someone floating in a pool, face down, their head not above the water. They seem to be dead. Or maybe it's not a person, not a park goer. Let's move on to the next entry. This one's titled Circa 1979 Movement on the Rails. It's a picture of serpentine we saw earlier with the word serpentine written on it. The description says, utilizing old metal tubing, Sharon crafted a roller coaster that, in hindsight, broke every regulation in the book. Oddly, riders noted bizarre rail movement when passing the curve, with some claiming that it appeared to be alive and snake-like. Over the years, serpentine became something of an urban legend because of this, although its snake-like movement was most likely because of the critical lack of support structure. Now, whoever wrote this website is obviously trying to figure out what happened, but also they seem to be dismissive of the anomalous properties of the various attractions at this park. This roller coaster very well could have been alive. Let's move on to the next entry. There's only one entry on page 3. It's the same photo from earlier on the attractions page of the laugh track. Sharon Corporation's first foray into experimental roller coasters. The laugh track utilized specialized restraint compressions to evoke uncontrolled laughter during its 8-minute runtime. The potential for asphyxiation is still being studied, although strangely not a single rider had filed a complaint during its brief run. This is interesting because the article we read about Frank Schlittenberg's first appearance in the newspaper proves that it could indeed hurt people, and prolonged exposure, especially 8 minutes of it, to this compression restraint, most likely injured people, but no one filed a complaint. What happened to these people? And with that, we are at the end of the archives. The next section of Liminal Land is the gallery. This is a collection of photos from Liminal Land. I'm not going to describe everyone, but I will scroll through them and comment on the ones I think are the most out of the ordinary. Something you'll notice about all these photos, as I mentioned earlier, is that the people in them don't look quite right. They never do. Not while they're at Liminal Land. Seems to be a poster or a promotional image for Liminal Land. It reads, "Longing for a place I never knew." A merry-go-rounder, spinning type ride. All the riders seem to be wearing masks, or they have the same face. Smiles plastered on them. This is an abnormal image. A bunch of park goers look into the sky as something seems to be jutting out of the ground or shooting up into the air. Another spinning ride with riders having the same face, the same smile on them. As I scroll through these, I wonder, how could all of this been built? How could it have been structurally sound, maintained, staffed? It's just not possible. And that is the end of the gallery. We're going to skip over the park closure for now. We'll come back to it right after we read about Liminal Land in the About Liminal Land section of the website. chrysanthemum photo greets us. Liminal Land opened its doors in the early winter of 1975. Destined to become one of the grandest amusement parks in the United States, Sharon Corporation set out to push the boundaries of what it means to provide immersive entertainment. To this day, it is unclear how exactly Liminal Land gathered such a large, passionate audience so quickly, as the town of Lake Valley has historically had a relatively small population. Regardless, ticket sales exploded from day one, much to the credit of large families who flew in from all over the world to experience Sharon's experimental vision. From the beginning, Liminal Land was always embedded with one mission: to dethrone Disneyland as the go-to destination for thrill seekers of all ages. Coasters that evoked emotion, a multi-tiered water park, and a massive underground suburbia were among the experiences being tested while the park was open, and to this day, debates are plentiful on whether Sharon actually achieved their goal of industry dominance. It is rumored that Disneyland was relatively empty throughout the 80s. However, Disney loyalists will consistently deny that. No matter which way you look at it, though, the impact of Liminal Land's existence was always clear. And, at least for a brief while, it appeared that the park wasn't ever going anywhere. Surprisingly, very little news coverage came out of Lake Valley during Liminal Land's tenure. Parkgoers seemed avid to serve as test subjects for their experimental rides, and it felt like no one ever batted an eye. Regardless of the numerous accidents that took place over the years, there was never a single investigation, audit, or inspection ever credibly done. What Liminal Land touted as anomalous events were simply tarped off for a day and reopened thereafter with not a single word about them. For 14 years, the park operated in this bizarre manner. People went missing, rides consistently changed, and the park staff were always apathetic about it. Yet Liminal Land's popularity paradoxically appeared to grow. Unfortunately, on May 20th of 1989, Liminal Land's day of reckoning has come. That night, the park was rapidly and indefinitely shut down, with no concrete reason ever being given. The remains of those present on that fateful night are rumored to remain exactly where they were last seen, although nobody really knows for sure. The theme park preservationists are keen to keep the spirit of a Liminal Land alive, however. There has been nothing like it for decades, and probably never will. That is the end of About Liminal Land. When you open the park closure page on the website, you are greeted with the text that says guest area and asks you to enter a password. This Reddit user found the password. I think it was him. I'm not sure. I didn't really do that much digging, to be honest, but this was the first dude that I saw when I went for looking for the password. And he found it out. I think he has a Discord server about this ARG, so join that if you want. I have no clue. But I did find the password from him, so. And the password is going to be rite of passage. And my keyboard's really janky, so I can't really type it in correctly, but I'll get there. Once you enter the password, you are greeted with this image. This is the Moloch. If you reverse image search that image, you'll get this Wikipedia page. It's a 19th century depiction of the Moloch idol. The Moloch is described as a name or term which appears in the Hebrew Bible 7 times. The Bible condemns practices which are associated with the Moloch, practices which appear to have included child sacrifice. Seems to be a mythical creature or idol or deity that will take children as sacrifices. If you scroll down on the page, you'll be greeted with Moloch as a rite of passage. The paragraph reads, "A minority of scholars, mainly scholars of Punic studies, has argued that the ceremonies to Moloch are in fact a non-lethal dedication ceremony rather than a sacrifice. These theories are partially supported by commentary in the Talmud and among early Jewish commentators of the Bible. Rejecting such arguments, I cannot pronounce either of these names, but they both note that the Bible explicitly connects to the ritual Moloch and to Tophet, with the verbs indicating slaughter, killing and sacrifice, deities eating children, and Holocaust. Selah also refers to the Carthaginian and Phoenician child sacrifice, found referenced in the Greco-Roman sources. This is all pretty crazy. Liminal land could in fact be just a place for Dr. Frank Schlittenberg to sacrifice children. For what? I've got no clue, but he's doing it, I'm pretty sure. This is supported through Nexpo's most recent video, Fear the Depths, in the beginning. The first clip that is played is a warped voice of a woman asking Frank where her children are. Also interesting in this paragraph, if you click on Punic, the first image is a happy mask, not unlike the faces we've seen on the merry-go-rounds in the gallery on the website. I've not done that much digging on this topic though, and I'm not really going to present any theories about this. Another connection I kind of made is the Holocaust. Schlittenberg is a very German-sounding name. Dr. Frank Schlittenberg, I don't know. The Moloch, it's all connected somewhere. I'm not the one theory crafting here though, so I got no clue. And on that note, I'd like to end this video here. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Like really, kind of crazy. Tell me how in the comments if you want. Subscribe if you want. Don't if you don't. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.